Hi everybody, my name's Trevor, and today I'm going to show you how to trim and prep a flank steak. So if you get your flank, it'll be in a bag, leave it up like so. This is kind of what they look like. So this is straight out of the pack, no trimming at all done. Just a little bit of fat here and some silver. You can see the grain is running with the length of the piece. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of start trimming a little bit. If you have a boning knife, feel free to use that. Otherwise, a regular chef's knife works just fine. But we're going to kind of slide under this little bit of fat here, and you just want to try and get as little of the meat as possible. I'll try to get all the fat, and if you try to hold the piece that you're cutting off back down with the meat, it'll take off a little bit less of the meat with it. So that's kind of what you're looking for, to take off that piece of fat. And the fat is okay to leave if you like a fattier steak, but anything that's silver, that's got this elasticity, you want to take that off, because that will not cook away when you go to cook it. It'll be chewy and not at all fun to chew on. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of slice the rest of the stuff off here. And that's about it. Maybe just one more little piece here. And that's about all I trim it for that side, so not a whole lot of waste. Flip it over, there's even a little bit less here. Just gonna trim a little bit off. The one thing with flank is they kind of got some big chunks of fat, so I do recommend taking that off. Otherwise, you'll literally get a whole mouthful of fat, and it won't be very appetizing to chew on at all. Again, more of the silver here. Trim that off. A little bit of fat here. And that's about it. So again, like I said earlier, this is the way that the direction the grain is going, so we want to cut against that. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways that we can finish this, depending on how you guys want to finish it. So if you want to cut a steak, I would just go again against the grain, so we're going to go perpendicular to it. And if you want like about a 7-ounce steak, that's about what that's going to be. So that's one way to cut steaks. Or if you want to actually cut fajita meat, then I would actually cut the whole flank in half. This is what we do for the restaurant. And then we're just going to cut it in half. And these pieces are about 1/4 inch, I would say, thick. So that's about what we're looking for. Just some nice big fajita strips. And again, we cut in half with the grain because we have to, and then all your little slices are against the grain. Cut all this, and I'm just going to go ahead and finish that. And then if you want to do diced, then we'll just we'll make our first cuts here with the grain. Again, however thick you want, how big of a dice you want, it kind of depends what you're cooking, but this is about a half inch, I'd say. And so you got your slices with the grain, and then against the grain, about a 1/2 inch thick again. That's about what you're looking for right there. And then to marinade, we'll just go with the diced one here. So we're going to throw it actually in a bag on the scale. We're going to work our way up to a pound here. So hopefully you guys have a pound scale at home, or like an ounce scale at home. And if you don't, then we'll kind of measure it out by the cup, and maybe we can convert it that way and be close enough here. So I'm just going to get to an even pound. All right, so there we are. Okay, so at the restaurant, for every pound of meat, we use 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces of marinade. So with your meat, you'll also get a setup for fajita marinade. And the important thing to remember about this one is all the spices like to settle. And so right before you go to marinate your meat, you want to shake it up real good and make sure all those spices, see how it's all kind of settled on the bottom there? We want to shake it up real good so it all gets mixed in, because those spices are where all the flavor at. So now I realize most home kitchens don't have ounce ladles, So I'm just gonna convert it to tablespoons to make it easy. But 1 tablespoon is a 1/2 ounce. So for a pound of meat, we're gonna do 3 tablespoons, which is 1.5 ounces of marinade. Give it one more shake here just to make sure we're real good. Again, get some of the spices there. So we're gonna do 1, 2, and 3. And that's it. Doesn't seem like a lot of marinade, but a little goes a long way. So then once we have it in our bag here, we'll kind of close it a little bit, and then if we just we'll just massage it around a little bit. Evenly distribute that marinade. And that's it. And so we want to let that sit in the fridge for at least 24 hours to take on that flavor. If you want to go 48, it's going to take on an even richer flavor. But that's about it. A couple different ways. If you guys, depending on how much you got, you guys are welcome to freeze this meat just as is. If you have a food saver, you can take the air out and use cryovac bags. Welcome to do that and freeze it. It should last in your fridge 5 to 6 days, I would say, safely. So that's about it.
Thank you for tuning in, folks. This is our corporate chef, Trevor Schultz, showing you how to make fajitas at home. Thank you.